Hello again. This is a continuation of a video I made previously, where I consider how long an ordinary person could survive in each major location from the game Look Outside. I did floors 3 and 2 in the first part, so now let's cover floor 1 and the ground floor. Here are the rules again quickly. Locations will be sorted into one of these 5 categories, locations will be split into themed areas, and the goal is to not get killed or not get cursed. With that out of the way, let's start with floor 1. It kind of bothers me that, for some reason, floor 1 is actually the second floor of the building since there's a different ground floor. Rah! I don't like Canadian numbering systems for floors and buildings. Rah! I don't like this game anymore. I wish I didn't put 40 hours into it. I have played this game a lot, and I still barely know the layout of floor 1, but the areas can still roughly be broken down into themes. So I'll start with the most interesting one first. Up first is Frederick's apartment. This place would be pretty cool to spend the 15 days in, but you'd have to play it smart if you wanted to survive. Almost all the Freds aren't aggressive unless you attack first. Some areas of the apartment would be off limits, like the storage area where Shadow Fred is, and the room where Fred Who Bites is. Plus, Scared Fred would just want to be left alone. All the utilities you would need are present. There's the bathroom with Tumor Fred. Thankfully, Tumor Fred is the easiest to kill, because going to the bathroom with him watching the entire time would be hard. Plus, Tumor Fred keeps commenting on my videos, so I could hypothetically watch YouTube with him if I got bored. There's a kitchen too with Wriggly Fred, and I think I could fight him if I really needed to use the fridge. And if I did get hurt from fighting him, I could go talk to Bright Fred to get healed. Toxic Fred may be my favorite Fred, but if I put the hat on I'd be stuck doing his bidding. And really, this Frederick versus Frederick stuff is not my problem. An ordinary person would not be trying to get a painting out of it like Sam is. Godhead Fred would be chill to hang out with too. If you got him to drop the holier than thou act, I think he'd be a cool guy. Really, the only major issue I see is that you can't let Facetaker realize that you know he's an imposter or he'll dissociate and attack you. I could survive here, but it would be rough managing all these Freds. You wouldn't be able to relax as much as other places, and you would constantly have to make sure you're not becoming enemies with any of them. There's the room where Aurelius hangs out across from Frederick's place. Maybe hypothetically I could get Aurelius to help me fight Freds too. It's not like he has anything better going on, just standing there all day, waiting for someone to give him the painting he wants. I guess this means that the room he stands in you could also survive for 15 days easily, but I'm not really counting these places since it's literally just an empty room. Also, I don't know when else to mention it, but my ranking of the astronomers are Aster, Beryl, Jasper, Aurelius. I just find Aurelius to be the most forgettable of the 4. Sorry, man. Beryl's in second place because I like how she's written, and cause she looks like me. I guess I should put Ernest's shelter on here, even if it is technically just one room. But there's a guy living here, so I feel like I should count it. I think Ernest is in the same situation as what I said about Eugene, where the person wouldn't really be looking for new roommates. Plus, you might get kidnapped and taken to rat hell to be executed, so that's no good. Plus, if these guys really wanted me to leave, they could definitely beat me in a fight. Colonel Squeakums is not to be messed with, he killed a man. Because of that, I would say I would only be able to last an hour here. The rat lair is next, and it's a pretty apt name. This place is definitely a lair for rats. This place would be hard to survive in, not gonna lie. A lot of the rats seem to be human originally, but they're definitely more loyal to the Rat King now. This place would be pretty chill if you had the rusty crown, since the rats would respect you and not fight you. But there's a 0% chance an ordinary person is beating the Rat King to get that crown. So what you're left with is a bunch of freaky mutant rats, like Eye Rat, and Big Rat, and Giant Rat. And a lot of these guys are like hyper-infected too, so you'll just get sick if they were to bite you. It is impressive the sheer number of rat-themed areas that are on this floor. As someone with a fear of rats, I really love it. Yep, I really love rats. You know, I say I'm scared of a lot of stuff actually. I said I had erotophobia, then I said I had triphobia, and now I'm saying I have musophobia. I remember when I read 1984 and the thing where the rats were going to burrow into the main character's eyes, I remember that part really scared me. That part scared me more than the threat of mass surveillance and totalitarianism. I would say you could last in this rat lair for an hour. The rat apartment is different from the rat lair. In my mind they were the same place. I think it's a better place to live. It's an apartment, so it has a fridge and bathroom, and it only has a few rats. Tail rat could be an issue because it's another large rat that would be able to infect you, so you'd have to be careful. There is the rat baby too, screaming its lungs out when you first enter the apartment, but I think I could take care of it. I wouldn't say I'm exactly an expert when it comes to raising babies, but I could take care of it. Give it a bath in the sink, play peekaboo with it, give it some of my blood. The big downside with this place, like I said, is really just tail rat. Rats biting you in real life is bad enough, but if this rat bit me, I just assume I'd be done for, and that I would have rat bite fever. Plus, apparently you can get rat bite fever from rat pee and poo, and I know for a fact that these guys are not using the toilet like civilized adults. They are 100% just walking around the apartment and going wherever they want. I would say you could live here, but it would be rough. Rat Baby would be a pro, but the constant fear of rat bite fever would be a huge con. Next is apartment 11, where you find the rat freak. No way. Giant chasms everywhere. Maybe this freak thought it would be cheaper to not pay for floors when he was picking an apartment to live in, but it's just not safe in here. My entire freshman year of college, I had to sleep in a lofted bed, and I was terrified I'd roll off the bed and explode into red paste when I hit the ground. So imagine how much harder you would die if you rolled off the mesh grating here and fell into a sea of rats. There's also the freak himself. I think I could maybe beat off the rat freak. I think I could win the freak off. Or I could just possibly trick him into falling down the chasm. Like, if he put a plank of wood and cheese at the end, maybe he'll fall off if he doesn't understand the principles of torque. But still, I think I could last here an hour tops. It's no place to live. Apartment 13. This is literally just a room with a mouth in the wall. I mean, you would be safe from rats, but it would just be so boring. All it talks about is wanting to eat children, which is like already kind of suspect. So the mouth wouldn't really be good for conversations. I guess I could last here a few days, but I would have to leave eventually, either out of boredom or out of thirst. Also, can I just say, I would never sacrifice one of my arms for a rat baby. Sam is a stronger and a kinder man than me. Look, I'm just saying, if there's a baby-shaped hole in the wall and I have a rat baby, it feels intuitive to put the rat baby in the hole, right? Why are you booing me again? This is like last time. I like having 2 arms. Is that such a crime? The plan apartment is rough. It's like the taxidermy apartment where if you want to do anything here, you're gonna have to fight a lot of cursed. Plus, Marvin here says he came to the apartment to look for food, and then he got infected, so it doesn't bode well for any other people that would come here. And if I found Marvin and he fought me, I would have no friends to attempt a rescue, and I would be digested alive. Also, I know Helen was a gardener, but like, how did she afford this place? It has like 6 separate rooms and like 15 tables. I counted. Why does she need so many tables? Is she renting them out to people? Is that how she can afford this apartment? Is that her real job?
If you're gonna keep renting tables to Comic Cons and Horror Cons, you better learn how to treat the talent.
Oh my god, that's why.
Shut up!
You could last there an hour tops. Too dangerous. No wonder Helen left. Oh, look, it's Oculus.
Hello, I am Oculus. In case you haven't noticed, I'm a giant eyeball.
I would die in 5 seconds if I was here. Or actually, more like die in 10 seconds. Also, fun fact, did you know in the original Game Jam demo for Look Outside that this image would appear if you stared at Oculus? This image would then be used for Rafta and Nestor. I thought it was interessante. Maybe you should go watch my video where I played the Game Jam demo if you want to see what I sound like without a script.
I was thinking earlier today that, like, this game came out, like, the real Look Outside came out, like, a while ago, like, and it's, like, my favorite game, like, ever. It's, like, how many other games are there out there that, like, end up being, like, my favorite game ever, and I, like, could have, like, played them way sooner, like, and I just, like, didn't play it, like, immediately for some reason. I don't know. That's probably not very articulate.
There's also the room with Nestor's hand in it, but I'm just ignoring that because it's literally just a room with a bunch of vents. But I only just realized when playing the game for a 3rd time that his hand will actually spawn more enemies outside of the vents around the building. I never saw this until my 3rd playthrough. Even when I played this game for 30 plus hours, I'm seeing new stuff. I like Look Outside a lot if I mentioned that. Rat Hell is next. Yeah, you would die in 5 seconds. The walls are literally made of rats. There's a giant rat being used as the parallax background. There isn't a toilet in sight. The only thing to eat is other rats. Even if the rats here look kinda cool, the rats would outnumber me like 1,000,000 to 1. 0 out of 10, you couldn't force me to stay here. Last for this floor is Sybil's old apartment. The fleshy apartment would be gross, but tolerable. Maybe you could even eat the Sybil meat, yum yum. There aren't any enemies in the first room, so it would be decently safe. Mr. Henderson also seemed to give the apartment the landlord's special and covered part of the wall up. If you somehow managed to get into the rest of the apartment, the husks would leave you alone for the most part, since they kind of just wallow in their own misery. I guess I could live here, but it would be rough. It would suck knowing that there's this awesome observatory, though, that I wouldn't be able to go look at. But honestly, maybe it's a good thing that that place is locked off. Floor 1 is kind of all over the place. A few good, a few bad, a few unbearable. I guess let's move on to the ground floor. The ground floor is kind of hard to divide into distinct areas, since a lot are just single rooms branching off of the main hallway. So I'm just covering the 5 locations on the ground floor that I think are the most interesting. First location is Mutt's Fish and Chips, which you could definitely survive in. One thing I really like about the passengers is how far they wander after the bus crashes. Elbows will straight up move all the way to the 3rd floor hallway if you don't fight him on the ground floor. None of these passengers, though, ever wander in the Mutts, probably cause Mutt would destroy them. Plus, this place has food and a bathroom, and clearly Mutt is okay with you loitering since all these people stay in place the whole 15 days. I could definitely survive here. The landlord's apartment is next. It is a literal war zone, so that's already not off to a good start. Add to the fact that time is weird and that minutes outside can feel like years when you're in the landlord's apartment, and that's another downside. And the enemies all have guns, which would kill most ordinary people almost immediately. Unless you're fighting Handfoot or whoever, you're donezo. However, if Last Warning was playing in the background, like if it was playing diegetically somewhere in the world, I think I would be okay, because that song turns me up. If I were to get drafted in real life and sent to the front lines to die for oil, I would be blasting this song in my earbuds the whole time. Realistically though, you would die in 5 seconds here. The cursed have guns, I feel like that's enough explanation. And plus, 15 days out there would be like 15 eons in here. I don't know if this is a weird one to include, but there are a fair amount of people you can find in the bathrooms. Nestor, Marshall, and Papineau can all be found in the bathrooms looking relatively safe. And hiding in a stall does seem to work as long as Wormleg isn't coming for you. He's the only person I could see an ordinary person finding and teaming up with, really. Otherwise, you're gonna have passengers coming into the bathrooms, and you'll be stuck in a stall for multiple days on end, and that's no good. That's boring. I don't need to roleplay having the stomach flu and getting stuck in a bathroom. Also, if I was a lady, I'd have to deal with famine in the women's bathroom, so that's no good either. I would say you could last a few days in here, just because there's so much uncertainty around these 2 places. The next area is the convenience store. Hypothetically, this place would have food and everything you need, but this stupid centipede is here. No. Just no. I would be scared getting stuck in a convenience store with a normal house centipede, but a fingerpede would be even worse. Unless you could make it to the office and somehow last 15 days in there, you would die in here almost immediately. Plus, most small convenience stores don't even let you use the bathroom without buying something anyways, so I'd have to be trying to make this checkout thing work while the Centifingers is breathing down my back and crying at me. I hate it when centipedes do that. You would die in 5 seconds here. If you're doing anything more than a quick pit stop in here, you'd get destroyed by Kid Named Finger here immediately. The last area for this video is the laundromat. I normally wouldn't include places that are single rooms, but I like this place. I like that it exists, even if it really only has 1 enemy. I don't know, something about the worm kind of freaks me out. It has those big analog horror eyes, but it would be even scarier if it had hyper-realistic blood coming out of them, and it made static cover the screen whenever you got near it. By the way, I should mention, I never actually bought Look Outside on Steam. Yeah, I actually bought a copy that was burned to a CD from a yard sale. The CD was labeled with red Sharpie as Look Outside version 6.66, and I thought, that's weird, I thought we were only on version 2.3. So I bought the disc, and when I put it into my computer, it downloaded a file to my computer, and it was called lookoutside.exe. But when the game was loading, instead of saying Frankie Smile Show, it said Frankie Frown Show, turn off the game now. And I thought, that's not his name. Why did he make his username so long? That's too many words. Is this some sort of bootleg copy? When I loaded the game and tried to talk to Sybil, instead of showing her normal eye, it was completely red, and hyper-realistic blood was seeping out of it. I should have known that was a sign to stop playing, but I had to keep going to see what would happen. When I put in my name, there was already a default name. Instead of the default name being Sam, it said, turn off game. And I thought to myself, who would name their kid that? And also, what does this have to do with ranking the locations and Look Outside? Wasn't I talking about the laundromat? I like Bad Lost Media creepypastas, okay? If I see one comment telling me to make a bad Look Outside creepypasta, I will make one. Oh yeah, the laundromat. I would say like an hour tops you could last in here. The only thing you could do is crawl with this worm, and that would suck. The ground floor is also all over the place, with one place you could be fine in, and a lot of places that are uninhabitable. That's it for part 2. The basement is pretty large, so I'll save that for part 3, and I'll also cover the mask-related places there. Bye!